Hey everyone, this video will be the last of the DNA Strand series. To do my multi-axis toolpath, I'm going to be using Unified. But first, I need to create a solid to use the clean core machining method. To create the solid, I'm going to go into wireframe and create an elliptical on the top face. I'll have to go into wireframe, then under the rectangle tab and click on elliptical. Once my geometry is created, I will go under the solids tab and select sweep. I will chain the elliptical that I just created, and then I will chain the center line going down the model. That will be my along chain. And then for my guide chain, I will select a side of the model. Now that I have a solid for the clean core machining method, I can get into my unified toolpath. Before I do that though, I will make my stock model. I will name it the results of B90 C180 and then make sure all my source operations are clicked from my previous cutting paths. Once I confirm that my stock model looks accurate, I can get into the Unified toolpath. I'm going to select Unified and then select my tool, which will be a 1/4 inch ball end mill. My cut pattern will be plane and custom angles. I will select the geometry, which will be the solid that I just made from the elliptical swept. I will select full start and end at the exact location, turn on extend and trim, start point and spiral. I will then adjust my step over for a scallop height of 5/10. Now you can change this number, but your machining time will take longer. Moving on from my cut pattern, I will move to advanced options for spiral machining. I will perform spiral in full and make sure that first contour and last contour are selected. Then, under my advanced options for surface quality, I want to hit smooth toolpath with a smoothing distance of 5/10. Extend and trim. The side extensions should be on with a value of 1/4 inch. And then I'm going to move down to the tool axis control. Now under my tool axis control, I want to do an output format of 4th axis. with a maximum angle step of 5 and change my tool axis control to surface. Then after, I will select 4th axis in the direction of Z axis. And I'm going to lock the 5th axis at 20 degrees. Following up after tool axis control will be my collision control. I want to make sure that my flute is checked, then change my strategy to retract tool along tool axis. And I'm going to select avoid geometries on the right hand side of the box, and I'm going to select the model and the slots that I created. After checking my tool path, I'm going to go into my linking, and I'm going to use lead in and lead out for the entry and exit. I'm going to turn on plane for clearance area and adjust the heights to 2. And then for my distances on the right hand side, I'm going to change my rapid to 1/2 inch for entry feed and exit feed distances, and then an air move safety distance to 1 inch. After watching my simulation, I didn't like how at the bottom of the tool path it hit some of the roughed out material. I'm going to go back and change my side extensions, and then I'll run my simulation again under backplot and verify that everything looks good. Moving forward with the last operations of completing this part, I'm going to be setting up to do the slots. From here, I'm going to create a plane, and I'm going to use this dynamically with geometry. First, I'm going to rotate my workpiece to the B90 C180 view, and then I'm going to select the walls of each slot. I'm going to select towards the top of the slot, so I can choose the top of the DNA strand. And then from there, I'm going to create my plane. Now the reason we want to use these two walls of the slot and we're creating a plane from geometry is because we need these walls to be parallel when the machining is happening. So when we select the walls, we want to choose towards the top of the geometry. And this way we can chain the top of the geometry for our cutting path. It's also important that we go back in and edit our slot plane work coordinate system, because we want to rotate the Z to be vertical 90 degrees. Now that I have two planes created for slot 1 and slot 2, I'll go into my slot toolpath and I will chain the geometry at the top. I'm going to do a loop geometry to get it all together. Then I'm going to go through and adjust some of my cutting parameters. I'm going to be using a 1/4 inch mill. I'm going to do forced tool change, and then go through my parameters of a perpendicular entry, a 10th out overlap, and I'm going to go into rough and finish, turn on ramp, output helixes, do a step over of 20% with a finish of 5 thou. I am going to go in later on and change my depth of cuts to max rough at 25 thou. I start off at, I believe, 100, and it looks too aggressive, so I'm going to choose 25 thou and keep tool down. I am going to do a breakthrough of about 20 thou, and then my linking parameters, I want to make sure that everything is incremental. I'm going to do the top stock and the depth. I'm going to select that manually and make sure, very important, that your planes are on the correct slot that you're going to be working on.